All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Fire Stages podcast. It's your boy, Gur Nation. This is a new channel that we're doing, and with me is the co-host, well, host period, Farhan.
What's up?
And then we have Pet Platypus.
What's up?
And then we then we have Great General. What's going on?
Hey guys.
And we have the guy who's going to be sleeping a lot, Jake.
You know, I should just leave right now. Let me get out of here.
Prince, what's up?
What's going on?
All right, so today on our topic today is we're going to be talking about what anime to get newcomers into, and then we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball. Well, not Dragon Ball as a whole, but just the first 153 episodes and the 16 volumes of the manga, Pet Platypus?
Yeah,
Let's just say
volumes.
it can vary, like the Dragon Ball discussion.
Yeah, so
So Star Anime. So what are your picks?
okay, well,
Well, you can go. Go for it.
oof.
I've
trying
got a
to
few
think.
already.
Few, well, depends on what genre. What do they like? Like in terms of like a genre of what series?
I mean, if
or
if they're just looking for like just anime in general, they will like a good anime that just like want to get into and think they would like and stuff, then it can be anything really. But
yeah, I know. I have I got a friend. He only watches like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh.
So the most
So-
stereotypical. See, I don't. See, those are like the stereotypical animes that some people might say those should be your starting anime, but for me, I don't know. I don't think they work. Like I'm someone who does watch anime, and I thought the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh was whack. So like, I don't know. It's just.
Ooh, you just
I mean,
pissed,
it could depend
it's
on like
just,
what Yu-Gi-Oh
you
series
just pissed off some Yu-Gi-Oh fans.
no, he's talking
I'm
about the
not saying Yu-Gi-Oh's
original.
I'm not saying it's bad in general. I'm just saying I thought the first episode was whack,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
yeah, Dragon Ball, it's just over the top. Like you think like, oh, well, these are stereotypical anime. I don't think you ease in people who've never watched anime with your stereotypical stuff. I think you have to ease them in with something that's maybe
Something they
I
didn't
don't want to say
expect.
Americanized or
yeah.
Like something
Yeah,
they
like,
wouldn't
and
expect
also
anime
Something a
to
bit
be
more
like.
grounded.
yeah, if they like sports, I would say like if they like basketball, Slam Dunk over like Kuroko, because Kuroko's like that's anime basketball, where Slam Dunk's a little bit more grounded.
Isn't the anime kind
Does
of
that make
bad?
sense?
Isn't the anime pretty bad?
I
heard
guess
it's-
it's old.
For Slam Dunk, I would not recommend the anime.
The
Yeah,
anime's
that's
pacing
fair.
turned me
It's
off
old.
for me. That's why I like
It's
read the
pretty,
manga.
it's pretty old. It's a pretty old
That's what I've been
series.
hearing. That's what I've been hearing, that the anime isn't
Yeah,
that good.
like I
You
remember
just
I
read
was
the manga.
watching the first episode and it took so long to actually like.
Yeah, Kuroko wouldn't be a bad pick
Yeah.
as far as like a Star Trek anime goes because I mean, if you're expecting it to teach you how to play the sport and stuff, then it won't do that much in that regard. But
Right.
as far as like
I was thinking like I was
easy
thinking
entry,
how-
then yeah, it's fine.
I was thinking how like it has like kind of pseudo superpowers, so it's like
It's true.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think the important distinction we need to make is like it depends on what kind of like viewer we're talking about. Like when it comes to like their age, are we talking like a kid, a teenager, or an adult?
I
See,
think if you're open,
Because
go for it.
then that kind of like varies a little bit.
this is different though because most of the kids I know, like my little brother, they be watching stuff. He do watch like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z. I know one time he had
Oh
got me.
yeah, you can definitely get into stuff like that. I just I guess like if you're open to watching anime, then you're probably a fan of animation or cartoons in general. I would imagine.
Right.
So. But
Also,
if you're not,
he had
if you're
got
more, if you're more into like live action. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. But if you're more into like live action dramas and stuff like that, I would probably recommend some stuff by Naoki Urasawa, but that's mostly manga, which is harder
Yeah.
for people to get into.
Yeah.
Well, there is
Also-
the monster anime. They can go for that.
That's true.
Isn't it kind of old school for them? A little bit too.
Nah,
not too old
it's not old
but
school.
like-
And
I wouldn't
this is what I want to
say-
say.
It came out in the 2000s.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Okay,
too old.
okay.
I don't think
Nah.
I don't think it would be like dated
Yeah.
in terms of like
And,
production.
and this is
I'm
what
gonna hate me. I didn't mean to cut you out. Y'all gonna hate me for this, but I don't think I could recommend Naruto to anybody. As much
No.
as the
It's long. That's the thing. Like, it's very long. I think
Yeah.
it's too much of a time investment for someone who just wants to test the water. I was thinking like longest series to recommend that's like safe. I would say like Yu Yu Hakusho, just like a little over 100 episodes, and even that might be pushing it.
that's like what was it
112.
112.
But when you're looking at American shows that typically have seasons that are like 20 episodes max, like 13 episodes, it's like
Oh,
It
Cowboy
feels
Bebop.
short.
I haven't seen Cowboy Bebop myself, so I'll let some of you guys who have seen that maybe. Would that be a good one?
I think Cowboy,
I can see that being a good
I mean,
start.
for like
especially
if
if you're
you're
in
an
a
older
sci-fi.
viewer, I would recommend that for you. But if you're like somebody that's young, that you're more prone to like action oriented anime, I wouldn't recommend that.
It's like a kung fu. It's like a mixture of like sci-fi, old kung fu movies, and drama mixed into one. If you're a fan of that,
It's
then
like if
yeah.
you're a fan of Firefly, I think you'd like it, or like what the Mandalorian is going for, then
Yeah.
yeah, definitely recommend
Yeah.
that. But
Right.
yeah,
Didn't he also
good.
make Samurai Champloo? I know we had a
Yeah,
pre-discussion about
Yeah, he
this.
did.
yeah, he made Samurai
But-
Champloo. The same director made Samurai Champloo. Shinichiro
Right.
Would you say
Watanabe.
would you say that's a good starter?
Oh,
series?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially like samurai stuff, and
No, I
plus,
would say yes and no because that's more for like an older audience. Though.
I say it's an older audience. What do you think
Well,
that?
they were trying to cover like a
I
wide.
wouldn't say I wouldn't say
adult,
kids would be into it, but more so like teenagers or adults.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because the hip hop OST,
Or
which
even
that's a
preteens, actually.
Nah, it's not the hip hop thing. It's just like it's not always high octane action and stuff,
yeah.
or it's not
Hip-hop
like
thing,
that
though,
over the top.
The hip hop thing though is kind of like it goes back to what I was saying, where not necessarily has to be Americanized, but maybe something that isn't just going to be like full force, just Japanese right in your face, which is weird to say about a series about samurais, but you know what I mean when we're
Yeah,
talking
it has
about
a mix of
Yeah,
American hip hop culture in it. But
What about-
which is a cool combination. Another recommendation. I'm hesitant to say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood only because of how high that will set the bar. If you're into it, like if you don't like it, that's totally fair. But if you're someone who watches it and you're into it and you really like it and you watch all 64 episodes, it might set the bar pretty high for anime for you, just in general.
Because
or like that's why like FMAB and Hunter x Hunter for me are like fourth, fifth anime. Like they shouldn't be your top. They shouldn't be your first three, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
you think Full
Yeah,
you don't think
that's
Full
fair.
Metal Alchemist should be that? I think it should be. That's
no,
like a
but it will
perfect-
set the bar too high if you're into that though. Like what Jeff
because of like,
Pep said.
because of the animation and the music and stuff like
No, it's
that.
just like overall.
No,
like,
no,
the
I'm saying
overall
you're
production
like
quality.
heightened, like you're gonna think, oh wow, this is my first anime, and you'll start thinking,
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Also,
Okay,
what I was gonna
okay.
say at the beginning of the stream was that like on that I have like 3 recommendations. I don't want like this is guy that like I reckon he was like, hey, do you have any? I think I'm running out of good anime to watch. Yeah, and he was like, oh, can you give me a recommendation because you're the most active in the chat. And I was like,
Right.
sure. So I recommended him like Kaiji. And then like I recommended him Ping Pong the animation. And then he was like, oh, Ping Pong looks weird. I'm not watching that. And I'm like, okay, then that's fair. You don't like the art style. But the reason I'd recommend Ping Pong to someone who's new to anime is so they don't have a preconceived notion of what anime actually looks like. Like,
Right.
like you know how a lot of new viewers get into seasonal shows. When they actually
Yes.
look back on like Ping Pong the animation or Kaiji, they're gonna be like, oh, sports series, I'm not interested in that, or even just like, wow, the art looks really weird and not anime. I don't think I'm gonna touch that. So having them start on non-action series and a sports series and a slice of life as well is like that would be good for their like
Yeah,
good for them going
it'll
for-
kind of drop the. I don't mean to talk over you. I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's
what you
fine.
mean is it'll kind of drop. It'll kind of like. I'm losing the word. It's like it'll break the stereotype basically. Like
Yeah.
it'll shatter like the preconceived notion of like, oh, it's sports, that's probably boring, or
Yeah.
oh, it's slice of life, that's probably boring. Like
Right.
It'll do them wonders when
I'll
they
be
actually
honest,
watch more anime.
Yeah, I kind of have that issue with some stuff. Like it's hard for me to get into sports series. Once I get into them, usually I like them, but
Oh,
it's kind of.
I know someone in the comment section is probably gonna say Inuyasha, and
I
as
don't think
me,
No.
nobody.
we're both we're from the me and
No,
Prince, we're from
I'd
the
say
old
maybe.
school.
Some people like to
And-
pick their favorites as starters. Some people like to pick stuff that's like your standard anime that everyone's heard of. I just don't think a lot of those shows, I just don't think they fit.
And first of all, Inuyasha, this is just my opinion. It doesn't age well at all. It just doesn't. Like
It's hard to recommend
The
older
old-
stuff, and it's hard to recommend manga because you have to be willing to read manga. So maybe if you're like a comics fan, like if you somehow fit into the demographic of you like comics and boxing, Ashita no Joe is a must, absolute must.
right.
But the anime I
For
can't really
sure.
recommend because of how old it is. It's really dated, so it's like
I mean,
I
it
think
depends if that
Joe,
bothers
it
you
has
though.
a
If
bit
the
of
anime bothers you, like with its production, like it's very old, but I heard the directing is not bad. Like it has higher
Well-
highs and lower lows than the actual manga.
yeah.
Joe, would you recommend like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to any anime? Because I would.
JoJo's
personally.
Bizarre Adventure. That's hard to recommend for
Really?
seasoned anime fans. It's such a weird series.
Yeah,
Think so? Really?
So it's yeah,
I
I mean
thought-
it's just the posing and the character design. Like it's a very weird, off-putting series. Like you really have to be ready for the memes with that one.
Hmm. Okay.
Absolutely.
I would say for anyone who's like some of the Marvel movies, I think My Hero Academia.
oh yeah, like
Yeah,
I think they did a
yeah.
crossover.
Yeah,
with
if you're
the,
into I think if you're into superheroes, then you're probably cool with weirder stuff. Like superheroes do weird shit a lot of times. So I think My Hero Academia, the art styles might maybe a little off-putting. Some of the designs are pretty crazy, but I think it wouldn't be a bad place to start if you
Especially-
like superheroes.
Yeah, especially how All Might. Well, we'll talk about My Hero in a later episode of the podcast, but All Might's basically like a Superman-like character. I think whoever's a hardcore Superman fan would definitely like All Might. Especially.
Yeah, he's not quite as good as Superman because Superman has so many decades. But yeah, he's definitely
Yeah.
like the character.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh, also, I was going to say this though.
Go for it.
To get into mech series, there's like three mech series I could recommend them. There are some are Gundam, one isn't. Gurren Lagann. Come on now.
oh yeah, Gurren
got-
Lagann is a really good type anime.
Gurren
As a-
Lagann.
Yeah, I think that could definitely ease them into like the weirder stuff when it comes to like anime as well, because it's not that over the top with it.
Hmm.
Compared to,
Oh,
like,
are you
some
sure?
other
Nah,
Are
it's
we-
over the
are we
top.
talking-
It's over the top.
No,
Yeah,
but
we're
not
talking
that
about the
much
same.
compared to like some other series.
No,
It's-
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
That
It's
is
something
true,
that can
but-
definitely, it's something that can ease like new viewers into like
Yeah, especially
the weirder
they-
side
no,
of
they
I
things.
want-
think it's like
they
the
want,
apex of like over the top. Like besides like I guess there's JoJo, but I think that's less over the top than Gurren Lagann.
No,
Yeah, Gurren
JoJo's
Lagann
is
has,
definitely
like-
more
they have-
wacky.
Yeah, but I don't want to spoil Gurren Lagann, but they have mechs that get so big that it's just like the definition of over the
Yeah,
top.
They
yeah,
do
that's what I'm
crazy.
saying.
They do crazy stuff, and when people say like,
No, I'm talking about like
talking
when
about
it comes to like the more comedic like aspects of it. Like not when it comes to like the scale of like the action and all that. The action's whatever, because like if you know that like it's gonna be like Gurren Lagann's not necessarily too much of a fancy necessarily, but it'll have like like over top aspects in that regard.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's very anime.
Yeah, it's more
Gundam-
high octane.
I can maybe see Gundam. That's the weird thing. Is like there are
See,
certain
It depends on
older
which Gundam it is,
series.
though.
it depends on the.
Yeah, well, there are certain older series that I think they're less anime than modern anime, if that makes sense. Like they have over the top elements, but they're not quite as like the comedy's delivered differently. It almost feels like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is more accessible for people who've never experienced anime. But
because
then it's
like,
a little on the older side, so you have to be ready to watch something that's going to look
Right.
a little bit older than modern anime.
And
I would-
an older anime is definitely a good starter for like people who haven't watched anime.
Yeah.
Like they won't be put off by like how old
Like,
it
now
is,
when-
or
when it
Yeah.
comes to like when it comes to the Gundam series, all right, there's about three I can recommend them. There's the original. There's Mobile Fighter G Gundam, which is basically Prince, you know what Mobile Fire G Gundam is. You know what's
Yes,
up, right?
sir.
Oh, there you go. There's that because that's very shonen. If see, because the problem with Gundam is that Gundam has a lot of politics and stuff like that. But then again, people like Star Wars that has a lot of space politics and stuff like that. So that's probably like a perfect gateway series. Gundam, Mobile Fire G Gundam. The other one, probably Gundam 00.
Oh,
There's a-
definitely.
yeah, that's not as politicky if that's even a word.
Political,
And the
but
Not
third
really.
one, yeah,
No,
I know.
there,
And the
there is
third one,
politics in Gundam, 00 though.
but not as much as like the old.
I want to say,
like
I disagree with that to an extent.
Do you think so? I
Okay.
mean,
I'm stepping out of this one because I don't know nothing about Gundam.
I was gonna
so-
say, wouldn't War in the Pocket be an easier recommendation? It's like a 6-episode OVA. It's
Now, what
uh,
show are you
I was
talking
thinking
about?
about short. I was
War
thinking
in
about
the
short form
Pocket.
stuff. Maybe Afro Samurai. Maybe it's like
No,
6
I wouldn't.
episodes.
yes, especially
Not for
yeah.
a kid, but more
No, not
so,
for a
like,
kid. I'm
teenagers
not
and
for a kid.
adults.
I'm just saying, like in general, like for
I
adults
mean,
or
the thing
whatever.
about
Like,
Gundam is that they have like the more adult suited Gundam shows, and they have like Gundam
Build Fighters,
What's the one?
just Gundam Build Fighters.
Fighters. And
It's
Gundam
basically like
Age and all that.
yeah, it's like Gundam Build Fighter. It's kind of like Pokemon. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's kind of like Beyblade almost.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade meets because the vibe you get from them that they remind you of those characters from like a Beyblade or a Yu-Gi-Oh series. That's really what it is.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, it depends on the demographic. Depends on what they're already interested in, and you really just have to like, if you're someone watching and you're trying to get someone into anime, you pretty much just have to consider what they like,
Yeah.
and then think about what anime would suit their tastes. Like, like I was saying, you could maybe do Kuriko's basketball if they like basketball, for example, but if they maybe aren't into like over the top shonen type, that kind of cheesy stuff, then maybe
Yeah.
you want to not maybe there's a different basketball series you could recommend, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
That's maybe a little bit more grounded.
I
Now,
mean, it's
here's
always
the
going to be hard
problem.
because you're going to give them your favorites, and
Yeah.
they might not like, what you like, so you never know.
and then you also gotta look at like other anime fans who, what's the word I look for? They act like assholes when it comes to recommending anime. They're like, "Ooh, you should try out this one." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the whole filthy casuals type thing.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
feel like casual anime have their place though.
Yeah.
That's what gets
I mean,
a lot of people.
Yeah,
People-
not everyone's like very critical and stuff. Like when they watch entertainment,
True.
like
I
in
mean,
fact,
like-
like
Sure.
majority of people that you see IRL aren't really like that critical or anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out a wild card one. I think Attack on Titan season 1 is pretty accessible because it's simple and it's got sort of the easily digestible story elements while hinting at more mysteries later.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
definitely.
pretty over the top.
Yeah.
It has some
Yeah.
fun direction as well. I think they'd enjoy it.
I think so.
But it has
yeah,
great
that-
animation. It's got the eye
Yeah.
candy. It's got the gore. It's
Uh-huh.
got things on a superficial level that people can get into.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
it turns
even,
into something more later.
Yeah, like with One Punch Man, you could definitely recommend that to kids because like even though there is violence, it's not like so over the top that like it's shocking necessarily. Like it kind of just flies over your head to some extent.
Yeah, it can
It's
be-
But, like,
overshadowed by
it's
the
not- it's
comedic
very-
aspect of it because when Saitama
Yeah, yeah.
one-shots a villain, it's like, oh, you're not thinking, wow, how brutal is that? You're thinking like, wow, he just one-shot him, like, like.
Yeah,
we don't need
yeah,
to
and
focus- we don't need to
it's got
focus too much on. Oh, you were saying?
Yeah, like the
Insane.
comedy, that could definitely like ease a newcomer to the weirder side of anime. Obviously
Yeah,
there's a high octane over the top action as well.
I was gonna.
Yeah, I think One Punch Man definitely. Its comedy isn't. I feel like there's a lot of jokes.
It appeals a bit.
Like,
It appeals a bit more towards a Western demographic, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
ain't as anime as like there are certain other anime series.
It's
really
like
isn't.
what you said. Like My Hero Academia is a good recommendation to MCU fans. I'd say the same for One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my friend recently watched it. He like just like he binged the MCU like last year, and like he absolutely loved it. Like the films in there. So he watched One Punch Man season 1, and then continued the manga from there, and basically had a blast. Like he's caught up now.
Right.
I got two picks. One you would agree with. One's a bit more of like a dark horse, I want to say. So my main one would be Death Note, because I recommended that to my cousin a while ago, and he was definitely into it when he watched the first few episodes. Now, granted, like, he's also into like philosophy and all that, but I think like, the premise is something that like a lot of people can get behind, because it's like two ideologies clashing, and it's about rooting for whoever you want to root for, and plus like, since it's a type of anime that's a battle of wits, and yeah, the way they do that, it's very like interesting and engaging.
Oh,
Especially
definitely.
And it's like despite the supernatural elements in the series, like it's also like rather grounded as well. So
And
what about
I
you?
think like it's definitely something that could ease into. Yeah, and I guess like a dark horse would be Vinland Saga.
Oh yeah, that's also a good.
I haven't seen it.
Nah, I think like that's something I would
see that.
I think that's something I would recommend more so to like teenagers and adults, because there's the drama, there's the action, there's the animation.
Also,
it's not
historical
really
context.
like and there's not really a lot of tropes when it comes to like anime and stuff involved in that series. So that's definitely something they can ease into.
Hey, General,
Yeah.
what about the Kingdom anime?
Oh, dude, we don't even want to talk about that right now.
The slander.
Might as well play it.
What about you, Prince? You got
Would
anything?
you guys recommend like the? Well, for me, I'm not the anime guy, so I don't have too much to say. But
He's the manga guy. He's the manga
shows
guy.
I would recommend. If you're older, like I would recommend like Ghost in the Shell.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
a
can
good
see
one. It'll get them into episodic
definitely.
anime.
Yeah, it's definitely a series worth checking out.
Yeah.
Gundam.
Oh, yeah.
It really depends, because Gundam is usually like hit or miss. Like I said, like you said before, Cowboy Bebop.
Definitely think getting into anime is a lot easier. If you're someone like, I'll just say this: if you're already someone who likes like Avatar: The Last Airbender, or even something like Steven Universe, you probably already like anime and just don't even know it.
Pretty much.
Just based like on the styles of those shows, the amount of anime references they have. Not Avatar, but like Steven Universe. It's something where it's like if you can get into that kind of narrative and you can get into that kind of weirdness, then I think you can probably get into anime. Easier than someone who maybe isn't as familiar with stuff like that.
I'd also recommend a show with a good dub. Fate Zero dubbed is a good well, I wouldn't say first anime, but like a good second or third anime. Third anime probably.
Yeah, I think a good dub, as someone who watches stuff in Japanese, and it's not my preference to this day, a good dub I think definitely works for people who've never
Because
really
like especially with the sub versus dub
any-
debates, like newcomers always think that like sub is better no matter what, just to get into the mood of watching something Japanese.
Yeah, but what do you say that's more subjective though? Like, what's a
No,
good dub?
it's more so, but it's like I can no, the thing is, it's like I can guarantee you that like I could tell, like let's say we're watching an anime, like I can guarantee you that I can tell someone who's basically like saying, oh, sub is always better, that this show is an American cartoon, and let's say like it's an anime with a really good dub. Like I can tell them that this show is an American cartoon, they won't say anything, because I feel like there are some people who don't like I know like some people would say, oh, the sub is always better, but they'll literally say the dub is always bad, just because it's a Japanese source material, it should be watched in Japanese, and I'm like,
and that's fair. If you're willing to give that a shot, then go for it. I just think that dub might be more accessible, especially because they're not all bad. Don't believe that
Yeah,
stereotype.
exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, oh no, it's usually it tends to be sub more because more available voice
I think
actors, same use get
speaking
paid
of
more.
dub, speaking of dub, another maybe a rather strange pick for like a starter is what about Hellsing Ultimate? Because that's a really good dub. Given the setting, it's in England, so the characters are
Oh,
supposed to have
pretty
British
good start as
accents,
well. It's like
which
12
is
episodes.
Yeah,
definitely
you're
good.
kind of dealing with like your vampires and stuff. I could kind of see that. It's over the top.
And then on
It's
top
like
of that,
Yeah, it has over
I
top action as well. So,
but also it's an
but
OVA.
it's also like very but it's also like very
Yeah, it's
entertaining. So
OVA, and that's like 40 minutes. You think, well, but then again, people watch the whole Marvel shows.
if you
And
can
then
no,
watch,
not even just that. Like, you watch,
watch-
people can watch stuff like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, shows that typically have like 40 minutes, hell, even longer.
Oh yeah,
Like
definitely.
when it comes to like the episodes. So I think like OVA would, wouldn't be too bad in that regard.
Now, all right. So I was gonna say this though. What about Bleach?
it's a little too long. I think.
Too long.
I think it's too long.
It's like 366 episodes.
I would definitely recommend like the first two arcs, and since the last arc is coming back, I would recommend it, but only to like a certain extent, though.
Yeah, Soul Society could be good, but I feel
If
because Soul Society,
if the person's willing to put in, the time to watch all those episodes, then sure, go for it.
I mean, if you skip the filler, it's not that. It's really not.
Oh
that
yeah. If you skip the filler, that helps. But it's still
that's telling someone who's never watched anime to like go on the wiki and be like, which one's a filler arc, which one's not, and then. So that's kind of.
it seems
it
seems like too much effort for someone who just got into anime.
It does have a good dub, and the first two arcs have minimal filler, and they tie in with each other pretty well. See, I'm probably not the best example because I just got into Bleach, and I'm already someone who's familiar with anime. But I think other than like some of the really over the top stuff with like the main character's dad being comedic, it's a pretty easy show to get into. Like I got into it pretty easy. And there's other shows I've started recently that I haven't gotten into as easily. So for whatever that's worth, it may be Bleach, but it's dicey.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't be my first pick as a starter anime, but I could put it as it's a contender for it.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move on to the other topic, let's talk about anime movies. Let's get into the movie. What about
that's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, same. I just thought about like OVAs, actual like
OVA, anime movies, all that good jazz. Now, for me, I'll just say the generic answer, Spirited Away.
I feel like they've already watched that.
I mean, maybe that's. I mean, but you could also, if you've seen Spirited Away, maybe watch something that's slightly less known, which is still very popular, but like Princess Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle, even Grave of the Fireflies is definitely for like a mature audience, but I could see that.
Kara no Kurokai is a film series, which is like 58 minutes in length. Well, the first one's like 58 minutes in length, and I can see that being very accessible.
What about one I would recommend is.
I was gonna say Akira is a very prolific anime movie.
Oh,
I don't know how well it would be for newcomers, but if you were just going to sit down for hour and 20 minutes, hour and 40 minutes to just watch a movie, and you just want to watch Akira, I mean, I haven't really heard any bad things. So
for a mature audience,
mature.
What were you going to say?
If you like it
an anime movie I would recommend is Your Name because I recommended that to my sister, and she's not really into anime at all, but she actually she was actually into it when she was watching it. So
that's a perfect,
that would be a nice pick.
Yeah, that's a perfect example right there. Then
Your Name, A Silent Voice, a good example, like a good starter anime films. Oh, and for a mature audience, I could imagine the Berserk trilogy, film trilogy.
Yeah,
CGI might be a bit off-putting, but I could probably see that.
There was one movie my friend he had recommended me a couple years ago. It's called Wolf Children.
Wolf Children's really good.
Children. That's really good.
That's a Soda movie. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What about the One Piece movies, Jeff? As the One Piece,
I mean, if you're gonna get into the series, if you're gonna get into One Piece as a series, like if you want to start that, I'd say Strong World is the best place to be like, okay, what's One Piece about in
Or
like
or
an
movie
hour
6.
and 2 hours? I don't think movie 6 represents One Piece that well, but
I mean, there's
it's a little
also
too dark.
there's also the episodes, like, you know, those episodes of East Blue.
Episode of East Blue, yeah, that's another one. Episode of East Blue. But that's if you want to get into One Piece, which I would not say is a starter series. Aside from the things, it's just
really.
while it gets weirder as it goes, it still starts out pretty weird, pretty cartoony. I mean, maybe if you're cool with stuff like, again, if you're cool with stuff like Steven Universe and Adventure Time and cartoons like that, then One Piece, I don't even think it's as weird as Adventure Time. So I think that might work. But
I think Adventure Time and Steven Universe is weirder than One Piece.
maybe not Steven Universe, but maybe about as weird. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like, but yeah, I'd say that's an anime movie that, like, Strong World or episode of East Blue are good starters if you want to see what One Piece is about. But as a starter series, I don't know. I guess you could watch episode of East Blue, but I wouldn't. I would go with something a little bit more casual than that, maybe. But you know,
Prince, you got anything? You got any anime movies that you remember?
Besides the Dragon Ball Super movies, no.
Oh, Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Well, not just Broly. You know,
no, Broly's too in continuity. I see the problem with Dragon Ball. I guess if you just want to see what Dragon Ball is,
I think it could work.
Do Battle of Gods. If you could do Battle of Gods, but like Dragon Ball is a series, I think we all agree. You have to be willing to try the manga. That's just
that
only
100%.
Yeah, that's true.
That's like.
Oh yeah, I agree. The manga is the way to go for Dragon Ball, but if you want to recommend Broly, I can definitely see that working because it's not like a plot heavy sort of series.
We'll be talking.
You won't really understand. You won't really understand some of the.
You won't 100% understand the lore, but you won't 100% understand the lore, but at the same time, like, it's not a plot heavy sort of like movie, so it's more like an action thing. So
yeah,
and the character Broly, so
Yeah. Speaking of
that could introduce the audience to that character.
Do you want to switch over? Do you want to switch over to talking about Dragon Ball? I think we put a lot of time into this.
Yeah, we did.
I was trying to do a cool.
So just to wrap it up, let's make a quick list. So I think we all agreed on like Attack on Titan.
Yeah, Attack on Titan.
I guess Cowboy Bebop. Maybe Bleach if you're cool with the long form thing.
My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia. One Punch Man.
Death Note.
Ping Pong.
Yeah, I can maybe see Death Note.
Or in Logon if you're for the max.
Yeah. So yeah, Ghost in
Pong. But I have seen the animation. It's off-putting. It's rotoscoped, but if you can watch it and you can get used to what it looks like, you're gonna see, because you're not gonna see a ton of that across anime, but there will be some anime you'll watch at some point where you'll see an episode handled by a completely different team of animators. And really weird. And you should probably prepare.
Man, I can't believe we forgot to mention this, but like when we were speaking like Shizen and Joe, what about like Hajime no Ippo?
Yeah,
Hajime no Ippo. I mean, its humor can get a little crazy, especially in the shower room.
Don't you mean annoying? Don't you mean a little annoying? It gets a little
annoying. It's just they get a little inappropriate.
It's more the raunchy side, but I think, that can still be funny depending on if you understand.
That's true. That's true.
Humor.
It just depends on the.
Aside from that, it's definitely a series. I mean, first of all, recommend watching in Japanese instead of dubbed this time. But I think speaking of that, let's say if they already watched a series in dub and they want to try a series in sub, I think Hajime no Ippo could segue perfectly.
Well, what's good about Ippo is that even though it's extremely long, you can watch the first season, which is 75 episodes, and you can get a pretty good. If you want to keep going, you can keep going, or you can kind of stop there. Honestly,
yeah.
It has a pretty good conclusive point for his story there. Which you could say the same thing about Hunter x Hunter, but again, like Hunter x Hunter is it's even longer. It's like
Yeah, it's like
148
148.
episodes.
Yeah,
Don't worry, we'll be
it's a
talking
good
about
like
that.
That's like
later.
double the length.
fourth/fifth anime. So like they actually invested into that.
We'll be talking about that in the podcast really soon.
Samurai Champloo is probably a good choice. I assume. I haven't seen it. Oh, I did watch a few episodes, but I kind of fell out of it. Not that I think it's bad. It's just how I am with shows sometimes.
But yeah, should we switch topics then to
Yeah,
Dragon?
let's
I
talk
just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure we gave that a bit of a conclusion, kind of throwing out
Yeah.
some,
and also,
But yeah, we can switch over to Dragon Ball. Oh yeah, go for it.
Also, we will be talking about some of these anime in the future episodes of podcast, just to let you know.
Oh yeah, more in-depth discussions. Yeah, for sure.
Not to talk about Dragon Ball. Oh, guess what? Spoilers for a series that came out over 30 years ago. I'm just joking. All right. So how I'm gonna do this though? We're gonna go arc by arc and just give our thoughts on it. So we're only doing Dragon Ball, just the first 153 episodes.
I do want to point out though, don't ever start with Z. Don't ever think that they're like two separate series.
They're one
It's
series.
a whole thing, and I'm not going to get. Yeah, it's a whole thing, and I'm not going to go into the detail, but it is one series.
You don't say, oh, Tokyo Ghoul Re is a different series from Tokyo Ghoul. Like they're both one series.
To Naruto Shippuden.
Yeah.
It's one series. You'd never start with Shippuden, so you shouldn't start with Z. You should just start from the beginning. Okay, so first arc was out of the Pilaf saga, even though they don't.
Pilaf saga or Hunt for the Dragon Balls arc.
Hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the Hunt for the
We're
Dragon Balls
talking manga
arc
only, right?
Or anime. It doesn't really matter. You can give yourself.
I've watched the anime, but I'm more familiar with the manga than the anime.
Let's do a little bit of both.
All right, you focus on that.
A little bit of manga and anime. Let's mix it up. We'll do a little bit of both.
If I just gave general thoughts on
Anyway.
it, I think it's aight to just give like a general
It's
take
a
on
fun
it.
start.
It's not that impressive to me, but
it's fine.
Start.
For me,
yeah, it's definitely Toriyama's like most gag heavy section of the series for sure.
For me,
especially given that his previous work was Dr. Slump.
Okay, for me, it's not my favorite arc, but I like going back and rewatching it for some reason. It's not my favorite, but I like to go back rewatching it.
I like rewatching it. I like rereading it usually. If I rewatch it, I fast forward all the Pilaf filler. Oh yeah, we can get out of we don't have to talk to the audience like they don't know anime anymore if we're going to be discussing Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I just fast forward the Pilaf stuff like completely. The shit's worthless. But I guess for me, it's just a lot of it's perverted humor, and that's just never done anything for me. So those gags just fall flat, and that's kind of like a big part of that first arc. So I think it's okay, but it's nothing. As a big of a Dragon Ball fan as I am, I don't think it has one of the best.
I'll say, yeah, it definitely establishes on a basic level, it's how the characters in the world are. But it's one of Dragon Ball is one of those series that it's definitely worth sticking around for as it does get better.
Yeah.
And more serious as it goes along.
I love the relationship between that's like a big sister, little brother relationship that people don't look at.
I'm a Dragon Ball series. It's a series in general that a lot of people give a bad rap for being all action or whatever. And I mean, the stuff we're talking about is actually given the credit it deserves for its story for the most part. But
the quote unquote Z portion is certainly better from both character development and story standpoint. But
we'll definitely talk about that.
We're going to
talk about that in a
future.
But
that's going to be and later down the road we'll talk about the Z portion of the story. Prince.
Actually no, Prince first, and then we'll move on to the next arc because I think there's more to talk about there.
Prince.
It's whatever. I mean, the thing I like about it most is that these characters become relevant in later arcs. I mean, they're not completely relevant, but I like how Toriyama brings them back up to.
Yeah.
So it's okay to get into that, but it's not my favorite.
I think I get what you mean because I always found it clever that they introduced Roshi, and then that just seamlessly transitions right into the next arc where Goku's like, "Oh, well, I want to go train," and we have a character already established
Oh yeah,
that
definitely.
he can go learn from.
Right.
So I think that really works.
Also, I'm gonna say this right now. Him turning into an Uzaru, I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of it's great at the same time because you see this 12-year-old kid just transform into this giant ape.
I love the comedy of it too. The way everyone starts freaking out because he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not allowed to look at the moon," and doesn't I think Bulma like she actually is like, "Don't look over there," and she
I think he
like
starts
points.
looking anyway. He's like, "What?"
It's like he's like, "Oh, don't look,
Well,
Yeah.
don't look at the
Goku
moon," but
anyway, so it's like if you tell him not to do it, he's gonna do it.
yeah,
What I like about the Great Ape transformation is that while a lot of it's still handled for comedy, I think like Puar turns into scissors and like cuts off the tail. It's kind of cartoony, but it was just cool to see Toriyama starting to like even that early on. It was like it was getting a little more serious. Like the Great Ape transformation wasn't a silly looking design,
yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
and it just perfectly sets up. Like it's clearly a retcon. Not going to pretend it was foreshadowed at all.
Yeah.
But just the weirdness surrounding Goku, the tail, the turning into an ape, the fact that he was able to give it such a good explanation
Right.
at the start of Z, while also
Right.
making it such a great plot twist at the same time was just perfect.
Right. And also the fact that Oolong, when Goku falls asleep, he asks, "This is where you watch Dragon Ball Japanese." He asks, "Is he an alien?" And you're just like,
yeah.
"No, he ain't an alien."
It's one of those. It's one of those things where it's hindsight is 2020, and it was not foreshadowing, but you can look back on it and almost be like, the coincidence there is it's such a strong coincidence. So yeah, it's definitely fun to revisit that arc. I can see why you'd like to revisit it.
Yeah. So, what do we get? What are we gonna give it out of 10? On a scale of 1,
I'd probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's slightly above
Yeah.
average.
6, 7, like
6.5.
it doesn't really. There's not like it doesn't really do a lot wrong necessarily, but it's not like the highs are like really high per
Also,
se.
Oolong is an outright sexual predator, and no one wants to talk about it.
Fact. And he's a kid. He's younger than Goku. We also gotta say that
This is why in the last segment I said don't recommend Dragon Ball, because Oolong wants to drug Bulma to feel her up at night.
Yeah.
He's a monster and he should be
He's a
stopped.
diva,
But next arc though, that would be the 21st Budokai or the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, depending on your persuasion.
or you could say Oolong.
This is better. I don't think he's misunderstood.
I would say, okay, now I'm moving on to the tournament arc.
Wait. Did you guys agree like 6.5 or did
Yeah,
you?
I go
yeah,
6.5.
around that rate.
6.5. It's not my favorite arc. Like I said, I love going back and rewatching it. Also, Roshi showing off the Kamehameha, that was dope. That was dope.
It's cool. Like it's cool because like, and if you look, especially this is why I always recommend the manga. His paneling doesn't feel as comedic as the series is. He has really sharp paneling with really good action, and it just brings like a premium. Like it feels like the paneling is better than the comedy deserves. Not to say the comedy is bad, but you just don't expect such premium paneling and such premium artwork from something that is so comedic.
All right.
So I don't know. That's just
all right. Moving on. The 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, or what they call in Funimation, the Tournament Saga. That is what they called it.
World tournament. Yeah.
In the manga, I think it was good, but in the anime it enhanced it. I do think it's overrated in the manga though.
Overrated.
Yeah, I think it's an overrated.
Overrated?
For me, it's an arc that's like for me. I like
In the
everything.
manga.
Overrated?
I think everything is really good all the way up until, ironically, the fights start, and then until you get to like Roshi versus Krillin, they're funny fights, or I will say they're comedy fights. I don't find them that funny. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Goku versus Nam, actually, not. That's a pretty good fight, but yeah, I don't know. Like you have the chick who like Nam won't hit her because she's hot, and I'm just like, meh. You have like Bacterion, and it's just like the Krillin not having a nose joke is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry, but
Oh,
private
wrong,
chat
bro.
stuff, everybody.
You're
Private chat
wrong,
stuff.
dude. Yeah, you're wrong, man.
Yeah, Krillin not having a nose is funny. I like that joke, but yeah, it's smelly fart burp jokes. Not a fan.
But
Yeah, but the final fight with Roshi is really good, and I like Roshi's motivation. He wants to beat his students so that they don't ever feel like they're the strongest. Because if they win the World Martial Arts Tournament, they will be the strongest, and he doesn't want them to lose motivation to keep going. Which, do you guys think Goku would have? I don't think he would have gotten lazy if he had won that
Goku's not
tournament.
Krillin, yes.
Yeah.
Krillin, I think Krillin,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe Krillin.
Yeah, I can see that with Krillin.
Krillin, yes. Goku, no, because Goku's always
But at
trying
the
to
same
learn.
time, yeah, but at the same time, Roshi didn't know Goku that well, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
but
And, yeah.
this is the same. This is the
Yeah,
same.
I don't think he knew like Goku's like actual competitive
but-
nature to the fullest.
Yeah,
you know?
but with Goku, this is the same guy who saw Roshi do the Kamehameha, and at the end of like the peel-off arc was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go train with Roshi. Roshi's strong. I'm gonna go train with him. So I don't
But
think that.
it was still good on him.
What were we saying?
What was you saying, Prince?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm saying like it was good of Roshi.
Yeah, what was
to
you
make sure they didn't full of.
But yeah. I like that
Yeah,
message. I like that message, and I like that motivation. Even though Goku probably wouldn't have anyway, I still like the message. It's mainly just like those first few fights. Like even the part where Krillin actually goes up against like the bullies from his old Shaolin temple, and he actually like has the confidence to actually, he's not confident to fight them, but when he realizes how strong he's become, that's a nice bit of character development. It's mainly just the finals. The finals for me, there's shit posting going on.
There's stuff in our Discord.
Like, yeah.
It's kind of a troll. Just to let you know, he's kind of a troll.
Oh yeah, he really gets to know me. I'm a big troll.
He's a troll. Oh man.
I'm trying.
Nah, there's this trolling on Discord. Don't worry about that.
Oh my god. How y'all feel about Launch as the character?
Oh yeah, she's fun. I wish they would stop ignoring her. I know Toriyama forgot about her, but would you guys agree that like there's no reason they shouldn't bring her back?
I mean, it's funny because he
Like-
brought my back. That's kind of weird.
He did
that's
bring
true.
her back.
I mean,
he did bring her back.
can,
In
but
17.
It's not like
He
she's
brought
gonna do
back 17.
anything relevant per se.
Yeah, that's fair.
You'd
Yeah.
probably
She
just give her
doesn't
like
need to be
a
relevant to
slice of life episode, reintroduce her to the group, and then
They could
she
bring
can come
Orale back. If they could bring Orale back in 17, and Mai and Future
Well, to be
Trunks.
fair, that was kind of like a episode. I don't.
No, it was a joke episode, but like you're referencing a character from another manga before you're referencing one of your own. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
You
say
figure
major
the anime
characters,
did
but-
that before too.
My favorite thing about Launch is that she's kind of like, in a joking sense, she's like low key the original Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Because her personality changes, she turns blonde, and she's like aggressive and shit. Like, I just think that's
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, she's not
Also-
a bad character. Back, I would.
Also, before I forget, the stuff with Roshi training Goku and Krill, that's amazing. I love
That
that.
was great.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, it has like
really
this
good.
karate. It has like the Karate Kid feel to it, with the Karate Kid feel to it, with like, oh, we're delivering milk and doing all. Yeah, it's really classic stuff, honestly. Yeah, for me, it's just those final fights. I'd probably give it like a 7. I would be willing to give it an 8 if I enjoyed some of those final fights more, but I just thought they were a little too gag and not enough martial arts for my taste. Maybe if I liked the gags more.
Yeah.
And that's not me saying Toriyama's not funny. Like, I might sound like I don't think any of this stuff is funny. There are funny jokes. I just didn't happen to find these jokes funny at the time.
So
Path to
you
Geo for
gotta
Gear
watch
Factors.
this in
To answer
Japanese
this question,
because
let's take a look at a
the
conversation.
insert song for this Mizashi Tenkaichi, that's flames, bro.
Oh yeah,
That
if you're
is
someone who's
really
only watched the dub for Dragon Ball, you're definitely missing out.
Also, the fact that they
Um,
break the fourth wall in the Japanese version because Roshi says, "How am I gonna beat Goku? I'll have to wait till after this commercial." I was like, hilarious. Oh,
Another great one too. I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the Pilaf saga, but when Goku hits Yamcha and he hits the panel border and then slams into the ground. That's a great gag. See, I like some of the comedy.
yeah.
Don't want to portray myself like I don't like any of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you guys rate this arc, or do you have anything else to add?
This is probably, for me, this is like a 7 because this is probably like one of my favorite tournament arcs
I give it like a 7.5 to 8,
because of the train
around
stuff.
that range.
Yeah.
It's about a 7 for me.
A 7.
7.
If we compare it to the next turn,
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I have a lot.
I wouldn't compare it to the next one. What would you give it on its own?
on its
It's,
own, I'll give
I'll give it a 7. A 7.
What about,
I
what
feel
about you,
like the
General?
first tournament is
A
okay,
7.
but
Okay, so
I'm gonna
now yeah, what's up? You finish.
Yeah, just to let you know, when we get to the other tournament arc, I have a lot to say about that one because
no, we all have
it's an unpopular opinion about the tournament,
all your
but
opinions are on.
pretty much all my
Okay.
opinions are.
And Loki trash, but we don't talk about that.
Shut up. Anyway, moving on. The Red Ribbon Army arc. So Goku, at the end of that, he decides.
This is where Dragon Ball. This is where Dragon Ball starts for me. This is the adventure is more prominent.
Okay.
The comedy is still there, but the action and adventure take a little more priority than they used to. And this arc, I really like.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite. This arc is kind of slept on, low key. Low key for a lot of Dragon Ball.
I think the first part of the series in general, the Dragon Ball portion is kind of slept on in general.
Yeah.
But at least among like the mainstream audiences. But yeah, it's almost like a saga in and of itself because it's a collection of like you have like Muscle Tower, Korin Tower, the assault on the base, the undersea cave with General Blue. But it's all a bunch of really good adventure stuff. I like how it utilizes the characters. Dragon Ball never tries to force characters to be there if they don't need to be. The only reason Bulma becomes a part of the story is because he needs to fix the radar. She's not forced to be there for no other reason. So it kind of trims the fat of like pointless panels that wouldn't, what's Bulma going to be doing, otherwise? Like she would just be there for no reason. So don't have her there.
I like the fact
a lot of other series kind of struggle with that, I think, in trying to keep certain characters always there when they don't need to be.
I also like the fact that Goku's on his own for a little while because we never really got a chance for him to be on his own.
Oh yeah, that's true.
True.
Yeah,
it is nice to see.
Yeah, then he meets like 8 or Vader in the dub.
Vader.
Again, that's another thing. It's another thing like the Great Ape transformation and Oolong's line about aliens, where it's not foreshadowing for the later androids, but it almost feels that way. It's really clever how he was able to take.
Oh yeah, and it's pretty dope how Goku pretty much solos the Red Ribbon Army.
That's a great scene. That's a great climax.
Goku going to the city is freaking hilarious, man. Him in the city don't know what he's doing, and he gets
beat up that one Bruce Lee looking guy. Just washes. him.
Just let you know, there's a lot of Bruce Lee characters. Just let y'all know, Toriyama is a huge like Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee fanboy.
Well, considering what Dragon Ball ends up mostly being about, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Bruce Lee guys in this series.
Oh yeah, and this is also kind of like starts like one of like Goku's little like progressions, like him interacting with like society and such, and kind of like sort of like becoming accustomed, even though like he's like a fish out of the water for the most part, but like even like at the start of like the Pilaf study, we kind of like sort of like start seeing that more, and as the arcs progress, then we see him steadily adjusting more and more.
But Farhan, Goku doesn't have character development. Goku's bland.
He's wrong.
Goku's not a well-written character.
Said dumb people.
I like how
what are you talking about?
Oh, what'd you say?
What'd you say?
I'm saying, I like how he has a relationship.
Yeah. I'm thinking of anything else to really talk about with that arc. The antagonists are pretty good. Mercenary Tao, it's the first time. Tao, General Blue a little bit, but I think Tao is the first time where Goku just got completely stomped.
Oh yeah.
So that was a really cool thing to see.
And also in retros,
he killed
yeah,
the
and
man with his
also,
tongue.
oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I think like the anime even added like where he like catches a bullet with a shoe when he flings his shoe
Oh,
up
yeah,
behind him.
Yeah, that was
funny.
dope.
I mean, like obviously, like when it comes to like physics, that shit don't make any sense. But you know, we don't know about that. And plus, like these characters defies the laws of physics anyway on a regular
Wait,
basis.
what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that like in retrospect, actually like with like the say in retcon, because you know obviously Toriyama didn't plan this out initially, but you know like how he got wrecked by Tao, and then later on like you know he climbs up Korin's tower, trains with him a bit, you know, via chasing him around and all that, and then you know, and then he fights Tao again, like he like bumps him basically. Like is that actually kind of a good way to show like that Zenkai boost?
Yeah, because he definitely gets a big power up. I mean, yeah, he climbs the tower and he chased Korin around, but he got a lot stronger. I think the Zenkai retcon actually.
What is everyone's thoughts on Korin? What's like when he goes up the tower and meets Korin? What is your thoughts on Korin so far? Korin as a character.
Back
He
to
was a cool little, yeah, he was a cool little like master, like you know, for Goku to learn from. Though obviously, I don't think like character-wise he offers as much as say like Roshi or especially Kami, who's definitely a slept-on character.
Also, Friends, you're a little quiet. You're a little quiet. I don't know if you can get closer to your mic, but
you know, we'll bring that up like you know when we get to like you know Demon King Piccolo and 23rd Budokai.
Oh, that fight between like when he came down from the tower. Also, we got our first death. The first death.
Oh yeah, this arc also has the very first time.
Oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't first death was General Blue, not Tao, by the way.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you know, like the first.
I mean, in general, like this is the first time
tension.
There's
tension. There's tension.
Yeah. Upa's father getting killed, and I really think it was smart if it was going to become a trend that characters get brought back to life with Dragon Balls. I think it was really smart for it to be like a no-name character and not someone important that would like undermine the emotional aspect of the death.
Yeah,
you establish the rule that you can bring characters back without undermining. Like I don't know. I think that was a really clever move.
Yeah,
because then when you get to the Piccolo saga, it doesn't feel like so convenient. Like the Dragon Balls will just bring them back to life. Like you already saw it before.
Yeah, if you don't just start with Z, because that's the problem with us here, that we started with Z, we didn't start with Dragon Ball. Yeah, death really wasn't a joke back in the day. It wasn't. If you really go back,
they don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Red Ribbon. That's where the series really starts for me, and I think it's actually I'd probably give it like an 8.5.
Wish Toonami would start.
Yeah,
they should have started with this arc, like the tournament arc, the first tournament, or the Red Ribbon.
But you can't really just start with it. You have to story.
That depends on how you want to market. I know when they tried to bring One Piece back to Toonami a few years back, they started with Davy back, which I get the intention. Animation got the rights to the series back in 2007, but a few years ago when Toonami was revived, they started airing One Piece and they started at Davy back. And I think that's a bad arc to start at. I get the idea of wanting to get to Water 7 faster, but Davy back is going to turn off a lot of people who don't know what One Piece is like.
Toonami started with...
They started with the
you're thinking like back in like 2007 when Funimation first got the rights.
Let's see.
I mean,
there's this one.
General, I don't think you haven't said too much on Red Ribbon.
Red Ribbon. Let's just say, I think that was the arc I just binged through the fastest when I read the manga.
Really?
Yeah, it's very
good
bingeable.
way, or did you want
to?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only part I don't like, and this is mainly an anime criticism and proof that it's not just the long power-ups in Z that are slow-paced. The stuff with the ninja, I forget his name.
Murasaki, something like that.
Murasaki. Murasaki.
That shit is unbelievably slow in the anime.
It definitely is. It's like 2 whole episodes and a bit more, I think.
he's
Yeah,
playing
it's
hide and seek
ridiculous.
with him, and then all that. I'm like, okay.
Well, the jokes are funny in the manga because they're fast. In the anime, it's just way too dragged out. But yeah, I think we all agree that that's really where Dragon Ball starts to hit its stride.
Yeah, I give the arc a 7.5
When
personally.
it, yeah, I'd give it like an 8. So
Um,
what's
Yeah, I
the
give it
the
an 8.
22nd Budokai?
no, we forgot about one thing. Goku meeting his grandfather.
Oh,
Forgot
Oh, how
about
could
yeah,
we?
Fortune
Oh, the
Teller.
Fortune
Fortune
Teller
Teller
Barber.
Barber.
Mid. Honestly, I think the
Fortune
arc is
Teller
mid.
Baba.
Until
Honestly, I
thing,
give
I
it.
think it's mid.
You think it's mid?
Honestly, I give it a 7.5 to an 8.
I give it like a
Well, the ending is the best
6.5, and
part
then
about
the
Yeah, it's because
ending
I feel
gives
like
it a
the ending is
7.
well worth the payoff.
Yeah, it is. I also like when I think they're fighting the vampire and like Upa pretends to be a cross and just like T poses. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, the gags. I like the horror themed villains, and I like Goku's little run in with the Pilaf gang at the end. He beats them without pants. That's pretty funny. But I don't know. It's just the fights aren't that interesting. It's just kind of one of those like, oh, look how much stronger Goku is than everyone, which that becomes a trope, pretty early on. But
Right.
yeah, he bodies everyone he fights until he gets to Grandpa Gohan, and that payoff and twist at the end is great.
Bro,
It's
that
a
hit
great
me in the
emotional moment.
feels,
But
dude.
maybe,
That hit
yeah,
me in
maybe
the
I'd give it like a
feels,
7.
man.
Maybe I give it like a 7, but it's not enough for me to say it's like on the same level as Red Ribbon. Which I gave an 8. So
I like what Yamcha says, like, even though Goku's really strong, he's still a kid.
yeah,
And the fact grandfather, he's in tears. Especially, that's sad. I'm not going to lie.
one of the few
That
times you see it's one of the few times you see Goku cry, and it is a really good moment.
is a good moment. And then his grandfather. Also, I'm going to talk about this when we get to the Z portion, but I got a lot of idiots calling a certain thing in Z a plot hole.
Yeah, we can talk
You
about
need
that
a-
later, but yeah, I guess 22nd Budokai, I guess.
What'd you
Think there's
say?
anything else. Oh, and we also get introduced to
saying
like
they
pulling
don't
on the
call it
tail
a-
being a weakness.
What was you saying, Prince?
I'm saying they called the whole portion.
Okay. Yeah.
Yo,
At the end, Goku finds all the Dragon Balls and wishes his friend's father Upa back to Libora, and then also Yamcha becomes Roshi's teacher. Not Roshi. He becomes Roshi's student. Excuse me. And Goku goes on his own and train, and we don't know
Yeah,
what
it's
he did.
it's an interesting spot to put another time skip, especially a 3-year time skip. But
Mhm.
I think it works.
I'm not gonna lie. Unpopular opinion though.
That echo.
This 3-year time. Yeah, it's the.
So that's definitely me then, I guess.
Okay.
I'll have to get
So yeah,
it
we got the 3-year
eventually.
time skip. Oh, I like that Goku just grabs the 4-star ball so it doesn't fly away. I thought that was fun.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
He
okay.
has to go on
So
another adventure.
yeah, Ken, what did you give the Red Ribbon Army arc?
Like I said, Red Ribbon Army, like I said, like an 8, and then Fortune Teller Bob was like a 7.
Same, I'll
What
say
about
8.
everyone else?
I said 7.5
Yeah,
for
same.
Red Ribbon, 8 for Fortune Teller Barber.
Prince, what
Let's
about
see.
you? What about you,
Red,
Prince?
Red Ribbon Army, I give a 7, and no, I give it an 8, and then Baba, I give a 7.
Okay,
Like I said,
so
I think it was probably the best part, though. It was worth it.
okay, so moving on. 3 years have passed. We move on to the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai arc.
Are we on
Probably
time,
let's talk.
by the way? I'm just curious how we might have to speed up a little bit.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. It's at we are 1 hour and 5 minutes in.
Okay, we can try to probably call it at like an hour and a half, maybe.
Hour and a half. All right, let's.
I like this.
We
one
got
a
a few
lot. I think
more.
it's. Yeah, I go back and forth between this arc and the 23rd Budokai for what the best tournament is in the series. Because I love the rivalry with the Crane School. I like the development for Tien. The final fight with Tien is great.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the fights before that, they're still a bit comedic, but they're funnier. I like the Wolfman gag. I like Goku versus Krillin is great. Yeah, this pretty much all positives with this arc. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. except for the anime version that adds a break every fight and has the characters go back to the hotel for no reason.
I can see that for 7 issues, but still, it's like, yeah, the manga's just a faster version.
For me, I don't hate. I don't. This is my least favorite tournament. I don't hate it, but this is my least favorite for some weird
Wait,
reason.
hold on. Let's go back for a second. How is this your least favorite, though?
I don't know what it is about it that it just maybe it ain't as memorable.
The 22nd.
So,
This is what we talking about when we say that Gur has low-key trash opinions.
it's not. It's just
No,
I don't know.
joking.
It's just I like some of the fights. I love the rivalry between the Crane and the Turtle Hermit school. I don't know what it is about this. It's just,
I think it's because, like, the 23rd was, like, the best tournament. I think we can all agree on that, right?
we're not there
I
yet.
go back and forth, but I
Spoiler.
kind of.
Yeah,
Ask
like,
me
okay, so
tomorrow,
20,
maybe.
23rd is, like, because...
It definitely has the best fight. For
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, we'll
23rd
get to it.
Yeah, so there's 23rd, which is the best and last tournament. The 21st, which is the first, and I can see what you mean. Like the middle just isn't as memorable.
Yeah, it's just I'll talk about more of the 23rd as we get to that arc, but like I don't know, maybe it's just it ain't as memorable. The fight between like Yamcha and like Tenshinhan was actually really good.
Oh, that's great villain setup. Or I guess he's not really a villain, but it's a great antagonist. Like going the extra mile to break his leg to really make the audience like root against him is great. I really like that element.
And then that whole like scene where like Chaozu does like the Dodon Ray and Goku's like, wait a minute, Mercenary Tao did that. And he's like, wait, how do you know that? Oh, yeah. I killed him.
Tying that back to a clever.
Yeah, I like how
Then you're
Krillin
like-
pointed out they could fly as well. Like it's like, hey, look, those guys are flying when they're watching the match.
Oh yeah, I like that flight got like a formal introduction like that. I think it's even referred to as like something no jutsu or whatever. Like on some Naruto shit.
Yeah, Bukuju.
Yeah, it has
Jutsu.
its own name. It has its own name, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So what I gotta say, great fights, good character moments. Tien's arc, it's well paced.
I'm not gonna lie, I prefer Goku versus Tien in this tournament, though.
I like their second fight personally.
I like the second half,
Personally,
but this one's
Nah,
good.
it's
This
too
one's
one-sided.
close.
It's a little too one-sided for me, but I do like it a lot.
well, I'm gonna talk
I feel like
about
this
that.
one's
I'll talk
close,
about
but I still prefer the second one.
Yeah, the second one.
that's
Also, Goku and them got taller, unlike certain other characters later on that don't age. I ain't gonna say their names, but
Goten and Trunks. I'll
I'm
say
not
their
gonna say
name.
names. I ain't saying names, but yeah. Anyway, I love the ending though.
Goku losing the tournament losing on a technicality is. Oh no, the ending. Oh, okay. I was about to give this arc an 8.5. I think I'm gonna give it a 9 for the ending. Krillin's death being the ending of the arc is fucking. That's great. That's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
fucking moment.
Yeah, the anime.
yeah,
has
I give it-
Goku.
Yeah, if we're going by ratings, I definitely give this arc a 9 out of 10.
I like how the anime.
I give it a 9
has
as well.
Yeah. Go, Prince. What's your rating?
I'll give it a 9.
I give it an 8. About an 8 point.
I'm still
8.1.
confused. This is your favorite tournament arc. That blows my mind.
Because I remember me watching this when I was a kid in Toonami. It was just like it was cool, but then when I rewatched it a couple years after, when I got my computer, I was just like, I don't know. Something
I mean,
about this.
if you're talking by the anime, I understand that. Manga was better than the 21st, though.
Okay, manga. The same thing in the manga. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know.
It's leaps and bounds better than the 21st.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But
Objectively, yeah.
In the anime,
no, in the anime, no. In the anime, I hate those. And then like, there's like an episode where the Crane teacher tries to like kidnap Goku or kill him in his sleep or some weird dumb shit. I don't know.
Because
I
he
mean,
had killed
that
Tao.
makes sense. For me, it was just Goku being absolutely late to the tournament, and like
Oh yeah,
no,
and,
that
the guy
and
who
like
fights.
Yeah,
The guy
and,
he one shots, like that dude gets like an entire episode of backstory. Like that's fucking.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
had no
did.
problems with
You
that,
didn't.
and yeah,
You
that's what
didn't
I'm
make
saying. The
that.
21st is better than the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's why. Maybe the
Demon-
anime. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so Demon King Piccolo.
Okay,
He's great.
we stopped
Bruh,
at Finn's death.
bruh. This arc. Oh my god. This
This
arc
is
is.
Toriyama's first. A lot of people say, "Oh, Dragon Ball got serious at Z." No, Dragon Ball got serious at Demon King Piccolo.
This arc is amazing,
And
man.
it's
This arc is
really good.
just knowing
I'd
that.
say almost every fight is pretty good. Almost every fight, pretty much.
Yeah, almost.
I said almost every fight in this arc is, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some solid fights. Goku rushing off, tired from the tournament. I love that it takes place right after the tournament. That's a really nice transition because you have like they want to kill all the world. They want to kill all the martial artists because a martial artist might be able to use the Mafuba to reseal Piccolo. So popping up right at a tournament, I think it's really clever. It's a really clever transition.
Yeah.
Goku being out of commission becomes a trope for a lot of the series, but I do like that in this arc we see Goku doing stuff like he's meeting Yajirobe, beating up Tambourine, he's training with Korin again. Unlike most other arcs where he's running down Snake Way or in a healing pod or in bed with a heart virus. I like that we actually see Goku doing stuff while he's, away from the story.
Oh yeah,
Bro,
and like I
I
like
was
how
just
it
gonna
came off right from the tournament. Like, so Goku was too exhausted to actually put up a good fight.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of detail.
Also, the fact that like Roshi, see, you know what they should have done. I know we're not there yet. They should have done like a Bardock and Trunks special with Roshi. I thought this was the perfect time to do that. They could have done that.
I'll give him some more back. You could have given him some backstory, but I don't think it's
like a little OVA, like a little OVA
yeah. I
or
mean,
something.
you could, but I don't think it'd be super necessary. But I'd be interested to see him younger outside of like that filler that they gave us.
Yeah, with Piccolo, yeah, just see how ruthless Piccolo was back in the day. I mean, that would be dope.
So let's see, good fights. Goku beating the shit out of Tambourine is great. We enjoyed that. Even Yajirobe beating up, what was it, Symbol? I think that one was
Yeah,
Symbol.
Symbol.
Simple.
Going versus Peter, completely and utterly wrecks.
Yeah. I like the first time he gets beat by Tambourine too, because it teaches him a lesson. Goku actually learns there that he shouldn't just dive into fight. Like, if you notice after that point, Goku doesn't really dive into fights out of anger anymore. So I think that's really some solid character development there.
We gotta talk about Piccolo as a villain. What are your thoughts on Piccolo? To me, he's my favorite villain. One of my favorite villains in Dragon Ball.
He's not my favorite. That goes to Frieza, but I like that I like his attitude when he takes over the world. And he's just kind of like, yeah, you guys can come try to fight me. There's no rules. Like he's not a hypocrite in any way. Like he says it's gonna be lawlessness and chaos, and he's like, you can come try to kill me. I'm not gonna be mad about it. Just try your best or whatever. Like it's cool. I like that he really sticks to his guns.
Oh, definitely.
With how he wants to do things.
I like the fact that he goes around killing all martial arts.
Yeah, that's a great because it brings back some characters we recognize when we see them get killed, and it also just allows for a lot of the main characters to have a real reason to be not just trying to fight Piccolo, but also they have to watch their own backs. Like that's what I like about this arc is Roshi gets more serious, Goku gets more serious. Like everything really feels like it appropriately escalates the drama.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a scene in the anime, in the manga that I really don't like. There's two scenes I don't like. For starters, the Goku drinking the water.
I feel like that was a Deus Ex Machina.
I don't. Look, I like in the anime how Goku had to go earn the water. To me, Korin just out. No. Korin out of the blue just is like, oh well, if you want to die, if you're not worried about dying, boom, here's this water coming out where he in his closet or something like that.
To me, he earns it by not dying when he drinks it. Like Piccolo has taken over the world. I feel like it's just arbitrary to give Goku a challenge to earn it. Like, if Goku's your best chance at beating Piccolo, just fucking give it to him. It's an emergency. But I don't know. That's just my take on it. I've always thought adding in the trial was just artificial adding.
Yeah, but it makes it. At least he earned. I thought he had.
Yeah, he earns it, but this isn't just a training arc for a power up. This is we got to stop this guy from taking over the world. Like, it just feels arbitrary to give him a challenge. But
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just my feelings on it. But I can see why people might find it to be a little bit like, because he kind of foreshadows it when he's like, "Oh yeah, we have super divine water, but it's actually just regular water." Training was that Goku was doing, him around a lot.
Mhm.
But then he brings out the real divine water. So I can see how that's kind of. I'll admit that. But overall, I think the final fight is great. The finishing move is one of the best in the series. And yeah, overall, I just think I give it like a 9.5. It's pretty much like top 5.
I will say the final fight between Piccolo and Goku. I don't know. Personally, it's solid, but it's kind of a weak fight to me personally.
No, I like it a lot.
Because-
No, it's really good.
Their second fight is way better, but
No, the problem I have with the second fight is just that Goku beats him up a little bit. Piccolo gets
no,
mad.
when I say second fight, I meant Piccolo Jr.
Oh, Piccolo Jr. Oh yeah, that fight's better. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like when Goku, when he can't use his legs, so he uses the Nyoibo to knee him in the face. I love that. Him using Tien as a hostage, and when the Nimbus comes down and brings Goku out of the crater and all that. It's got a lot of memorable moments for me, and the finishing move is just one of the best in the series. Like I said,
yeah. Also, this is the last.
It's a little in Goku's favor. I won't lie, it's a little bit in Goku's favor until Piccolo starts being a grimy son of a bitch and starts using hostages. But
Also, this is the last time Goku uses Neweibo. This is the last time
he has to use it. He has to use it to connect Korin Tower to the lookout. Also, the twist that Kami and Piccolo were split from the same, and when he walks out and he looks just like Piccolo, that's a nice. He could have just made God look like anybody, but the fact that it was a character related to Piccolo, I thought was clever.
Yeah. We'll find out more about Piccolo and Kami in the future later on in C. So,
also, on a side note, I do want to say that, there's this false notion that that people think that the human characters are more useful in this portion of the series as opposed to later on. But I feel like that's kind of bullshit because they don't really do actual useful things necessarily. Sure, they're close to Goku when it comes to powers.
Yeah.
Their powers and all that, but
yeah, notice how we haven't mentioned anything they've done. Nothing they've done in these arcs up to now that we've talked about has been big enough for us to be like, oh, Krillin did that. No. What, Krillin got bodied by General Blue? What am I supposed to say?
Yajirobe does more useful shit than either of them, which is pretty funny.
True.
Tien has his arc in this portion of the series, but in terms of being useful, not really. Piccolo's henchman Drum beats of him.
Oh, there's one thing I didn't like is where when Tenshin Han arrives at the palace, and this is in the manga.
The crack and
I didn't like that. Yeah, I did not.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those last minute twists where he trained for it for a couple of pages, and then if they had given some in depth chapter or an entire chapter dedicated to him learning Fuba, only for it to break, I would agree. But because they only give it a couple of pages and then it breaks, I'm kind of okay with it.
Also, in the anime, he didn't die. But he didn't die.
Well, no, he didn't die. Well, because I think they're kind of a little bit loose with the rules of the Mafuba, but I think it just depends on how strong you are as a person, whether or not you'll die. It takes a ton of stamina, and it can kill you if you're Roshi's age, and you're kind of on the weaker side compared to other characters. But if you're young in your prime, like Tien, I think we can assume Tien was stronger than Roshi at that point. It kind of makes sense that he wouldn't die with knee.
Yeah. So I think we said what we had to say. I like the fact in the ending, where, like, Goku's gonna go train with him. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do. If it wasn't for the fact that this next arc is really good, I would say it was way too soon to do another 3-year time skip and another tournament. But the arc is really good, so I'll let it slide.
It's a pretty long arc, though, when you think about it. It is pretty long, though.
Yeah, but I mean, another 3-year time skip. I mean, think about how many time skips happen in a lot of shonen. Like, that's another pretty big jump after just one, especially going right into another tournament arc immediately after doing another tournament right before Piccolo.
But I think it's done fine because, like, considering that Piccolo Jr., like, you know, like, he's, like, what, 3 years old? And, you know, like, in the tournament, he's, like, grown and stuff. So, you know, if we were...
It gave him time to actually grow up.
And right way, then, you know.
So,
what do we give this on out of 10?
8 to a 9. I give about an 8 to a 9 out of 10.
An 8.
It's a 9.5.
An 8 out of 10.
I'll probably give it...
I give it a 9.
For a couple of the flaws, if I'm being objective, I'm going to give it a 9, but I do like it more than the previous arc, but I'll give them the same score.
An 8.
What about you?
No, 9.
All right. Now, just to let you know, this is the last arc in the Dragon Ball era, the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai arc, or in Funimation they call it the Piccolo Junior saga.
It's the best tournament in the entire series.
Best tournament in the entire series.
I got to
including any other, like, including Super.
Hold on. I gotta shed some more knowledge on people. I think this was in an interview that Toriyama was like, I want Goku to grow up, and he had an argument with his editor to say, if Goku doesn't grow up, I'm gonna cancel the series.
He'll stop writing.
He said he was tired. He said it was too much work for drawing Goku because he was so short. So that's probably,
That's what I love about it too, is that it's cool to see Goku get older, because honestly, let's be real, what other shonen series, like, a few series have time skips, but how often do you see a character go from a child to an adult? Like, I think and I love that the origin of that decision is not because of anything to do with, I want to explore his development or anything. Literally just, I don't like drawing him stubby anymore. Like, Toriyama's the best.
Yeah, to add on to that, like, usually, like, when a shonen protagonist becomes an adult, it's usually at the end of the series, like, literally at the end, they get their love interest and have kids, and that's the end.
It's like Naruto, I think.
That's what I love about Dragon Ball. Everyone says Dragon Ball is generic, and yet it breaks both of those tropes. It breaks they end up with their love interest trope because Chi-Chi just shows up, and just they get married. And then it also breaks it because the show actually keeps going. We go into, like, him having a son, and then eventually another son, and he becomes a grandpa at the very end. So
let's
talk about.
Let's start. Can we hold on, man? This arc is so good. I'm lost for words, bro. The fight between Goku and Piccolo Jr. To me, this is probably one of my top five favorite fights. Not just in Dragon Ball, but in anime. Period. To me,
the only part of the fight I don't like is Giant Piccolo, and I get why it's there. I get why it's there to get Kami out of Piccolo, but I'm not the biggest fan of just him becoming giant. I feel like the fight slowed down a little bit. But other than that, yeah. And also, shout out to Piccolo. Krillin versus Piccolo. Krillin obviously loses.
Oh, it was really good.
It's a good fight.
The fight he puts up and the way Piccolo, like, earns respect for him. He even says, like, maybe taking over this world won't be as easy as I thought. Like, that's good respect for Krillin as a character, and
I like how everyone was was cheering and so supportive of him after he lost, because it shows it's like he didn't just lose, like, he just gave up. He was like, okay, I think I'm done here, whatever.
I love how far he came from being like this snobby little jerk who would, like, cheat to beat Goku at training and everything. Like, again, if you're someone of those people, Dragon Ball has no story and no character development. Well, not only does Krillin have character development in Z, watched the whole series to see where these characters develop.
Oh yeah, and like
Chrome has
there's
changed.
also like the little like sort of like exposition like in the 21st tournament that remember when he met his like fellow like peers from like his previous school.
Yeah,
I briefly
Like
mentioned
it was implied that it was implied that they used to bully him and stuff.
Yeah.
So you could also you could kind of see the snottiness, and that personality is almost like a projection, or like he's compensating for his own like how he is lack of confidence.
Yeah.
So he pretends to be confident. The character for like a series that was super gag based early on, it had really strong character writing.
I was gonna say, how do y'all feel about Tao coming back as a cyborg?
Perfect way to wrap up Tien's arc.
Oh,
Perfect
definitely.
way.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. All those fights have meaning, in my opinion. Even Yamcha versus
Hero.
Kami, which is like fight. It's Kami.
Shin.
Even that fight, Yamcha gets he gets slapped around a bit in like some gag fashion, but even Yamcha gets to flex a little bit with the
Spirit Ball,
Spirit Ball or the Shodoken or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kami versus Piccolo also foreshadowed Namek.
Yeah, they
With
spoke
Namek-
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the Namekian language.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was pre-planned or just a convenient retcon again, but either way, it works. When you can't tell the difference between a retcon and foreshadowing, that's when you know you're a really good writer. Like when you pull shit out of your ass and make it fit.
It feels like it's pre-planned though. Even though he was writing as it goes along, it feels like it's pre-planned.
I don't even think Freeze was like pre-planned, but it fits so perfectly.
Yeah. What's it say?
I mean, like that's not to say that like it doesn't have its missteps along the way. Like obviously there'll be some like inconsistencies throughout the series, but it's nothing where it's like so major that it greatly detracts.
Only flaws.
So like
the only flaws
more
that
so
I
like
have
kind of like on the minor / nitpicky sides.
I don't have any flaws with
For the
this
most
arc.
part.
There's no flaws with this arc.
My only thing is like trying to think if I had any issues. I think you're probably right. I can't really think of anything. It's a pretty well done tournament. All the fights are meaningful.
Like also like Goku versus Chi-Chi, that was pretty funny. Like with like what he thought like marriage was and all that.
Yeah, I like how Chi-Chi improved as a fighter. Like I like the fact that
like we see that like early on in the series, like in the Pilaf arc, she was like more on the timid side of things, but then like here she's like a lot more hot-headed.
And also want to point out that this is kind of where Goku. Part of it has to do. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say part of it has to do with Kami being his mentor and a friend, but this is the first time we see Goku really start to dabble with. He doesn't really want to kill enemies anymore.
Oh yeah,
he progressed from his kid self when he tried to kill that brain out.
Oh yeah, this is like one of his main character arcs because like before, like when he was killing, I think we could say like he didn't necessarily have like a proper moral compass because like obviously he grew up with his grandpa Gohan, but he died at like somewhat relative age, so like obviously there's only so much you can like teach him for like that relatively short time period.
Yeah, and the older he got, and the more mature he got, he started to have a bit more of an issue with killing enemies. Like he'll still beat the crap out of them. He might, be angry and say like, "Oh, I'll kill you or I'll kick your ass," but when push comes to shove, he kind of is fine with just knocking them unconscious.
However, an important thing to note is like when he spared Piccolo, it's not necessarily out of like like for altruistic reasons.
No,
it's for selfish reasons
because he wanted
to keep Kami alive. He has to keep Kami alive.
I mean, there's that too. But
he didn't have to give him a sensu bean though. I think he just wanted Piccolo to be recovered so that they could, it's cool.
He wants a rival.
Yeah, Goku and giving enemies sensu beans.
I'm just gonna say this to all y'all Vegeta fans. Before Goku and Vegeta, there was Goku and Piccolo. These two were the strongest.
Granted, it was short lived. But yeah, they did have a bit of a rivalry, I suppose.
Also, Goku won the tournament, unlike another person that it took damn near to were adults to finally win the tournament.
It was
I'm
great.
looking at you.
It was great payoff. It was great payoff for him to finally win a tournament. Like Goku was so adamant about winning this tournament that he said, you know, follow the rules. Are we still in the arena? Even after the entire city is destroyed, are we still in the border of the arena and not accepting anyone's help? You know, Goku's selfish side is, you know, kind of putting things at risk just for the sake of like tournament rules, honor, the fight itself, you know. Just standard Goku stuff that I think a lot of people just act like doesn't exist, or they act like it just started happening in Super for some reason.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, it's great. And then, you know, he flies off. It does actually, it works pretty well as a conclusion. I can see why people treat it like, oh, this is a magical fantasy, you know, with demons and stuff. And then Dragon Ball Z is like sci-fi fantasy. But I feel like because the series starts to get gradually more serious as it goes, I don't really feel like there's that one moment where you're like, oh, now it's a tonally different show.
I mean, in the Red Ribbon Army arc, there was science fiction in the Red Ribbon Army arc.
And exactly. That's another thing I was going to bring up is like, yeah, there was demons and shit which were retconned to be aliens later. But yeah, you have the Red Ribbon, you have androids and all that. So, and then Majin Buu is like alien magic. So I don't know. It's just like people like to cherry pick and figure out like, oh, well, Z sucks because of this reason, blah, blah. It's just look at it as one thing. You don't like, yeah, there's Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. No one acts like they're two separate entities. So let's not do that with Dragon Ball. That's just my 2 cents.
I kind of blame Viz.
Oh yeah, for sure. Viz shouldn't have split the series, and neither should honestly Toei shouldn't have split it. But
they kind of had to because the tone was changing, and you know, we'll talk about that. Get to talking about the Z portion.
That's what I was just saying, though. The tone was gradually changing ever since like the Piccolo arc, though. So
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, because Shippuden didn't. I mean, One Piece. I guess One Piece didn't change that much tonally. It is more serious after the time skip, but I don't know.
Oh,
but yeah, that's pretty much it, though. That's Dragon Ball. We went through the whole series. We definitely went way over time, but it's good to know that we are willing to go over time, I guess, on these podcasts because this was like a test run.
Yeah, it was a test run. Also, to test mic quality as well. You know, we hit the echo on the show.
I think Prince's volume was a little low, but it's good to like iron this stuff out.
You guys didn't tell me earlier. Could have told me a lot sooner.
I tried to, but I was trying to also avoid us talking over each other too much.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
But,
so
I'll get that corrected though.
Hold on. Wait. So what do we give this out of 10?
10 out of 10.
I mean, I know flaws, so I guess I'll give it a 10. I mean, I don't think
it's an amazing art, to be honest. One of the best shonen ones.
Wait, hold on. 11 out of 10? What you used to say?
10 out of 10.
Maybe. Yeah, I'll give it a 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
I'm joking.
11 out of 10 is usually like 11 out of 10 is usually for like mind blowing like individual episodes that are just like that shit was crazy good. Whereas an entire arc, I'm not really gonna go like 11 because it would have to sustain that level of hype for its entire run, and that's hard. Unless you're Coalition and Kingdom, apparently.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it does. It really does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to reread that arc. I don't even know if it's that hype. It might be. I read it before, but
I mean, like, remember how it started out like all 6 states against Kin, like that.
I was definitely hyping it up.
Yeah,
I was definitely hyping it up.
It maintains that throughout the run. It has these good decisions.
But Kingdom has a lot of hype arcs though, so you can't even.
Yeah.
We need to read Kingdom so I can get.
Y'all niggas need to read Kingdom. I don't need to read
it. Segment number 3, Kingdom. No, I'm just kidding.
As a whole, what do we
read Holy Land instead?
Yeah, we'll get to underrated manga later.
As a whole, I would give the Dragon. If you're gonna say as a whole, what would I give Dragon Ball? Is that the?
Yeah, what would you give it out of 10?
Oh, overall, the Dragon Ball portion.
The whole.
I give it 7 or an 8.
I get 8.5.
It gets a lot better towards its second half. Like once you get to Red Ribbon, the first couple arcs. But the great thing about Dragon Ball is that if you're getting into the series for the first time and you're hearing us talk about it and how we kind of said like the first couple arcs are kind of okay and they get better, you can read them so quickly. Like it's
Oh
such
yeah,
a quick read series.
I
that
read
you
it
can
in
get
like
to
a
the good
flash. It was
stuff really
unbelievable.
fast.
Whereas,
Yeah, you can get to the good stuff
Yeah,
really
'cause-
fast if you're not like, feeling some of the early
the-
comedy and everything.
Yeah.
school
But
shonen
should
back
we
in the
end it
day.
there?
Oh no, that's one thing I wanted to say. That's one thing about old school shonen back in the day, where like the pacing was like not too fast but not too slow, which is something that modern shonen kind of fail at.
Well, and they didn't overcomplicate stuff for no reason.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Dragon Ball always it had a story. There is a story to the characters. There is character development, but it is simple, so that helps with the quick read
Yeah, I
format
mean,
as well.
yeah, like the series in general, there's definitely more depth than people would like to give it credit for. But at the same time, it is for the most part, more on the simple side of things when it comes to like its storytelling.
It's a more character-driven series, I would say,
Yeah,
which
it's
works for me.
character-driven.
That's
Oh
what I
yeah,
prefer.
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Okay, well,
Oh yeah, and also
that's about it.
also for the ignorant folks out there, Vegeta is not the only character that has character development in the series.
We'll get to that
true.
another day.
we're gonna get to that. Also,
I want to save my hard drive space. Okay, I'm like this is 1 hour and 30.
Let's cut it. Let's cut it here. Let's cut it.
Yeah.
let's put it. Next
right,
episode.
Bye.